We're going to take a look at P1-13, and our notation is object is symmetrical about the center line. We are in inches. Let's see, what else can we have? Thickness of 0.875. We can draw each of the circles individually, or we can go back to the pattern command inside of the sketch. So once again, give this a shot. The recommendation is that when you see symmetry, your origin is going to be on the nose, either at the midpoint here or at the tail midpoint here. So go ahead and give this a try and come back and we'll see how we get this done. Alright, so let's open up our template. And we have the part inch ready to go. I'm going to put the nose on the left side. So whenever we see symmetry, we're going to go in, get our sketch started on the front plane. I'm going to go with the center line. In this case, it's going to be horizontal. I don't really want to draw this in a vertical orientation, although I could. Horizontal is going to give me the same orientation as the sketch. We set that on the origin. Quick double check that it is in black, not blue. And if it was in blue, we would drag it away from the origin and back to the origin so that it would infer those relations. Alright, so with symmetry, we can take advantage of the mirror. And so let's do a couple of different kinds of mirror here. We're going to draw the first couple of segments. Okay, and then I'll go ahead and put dimensions. So one of the things I like to do with the mirror is that go ahead and get it fully defined using this technique. And 1.31. Now these are all radial or half dimensions. So I will keep them between the center line and the object. And right click, go into select or hit escape on the keyboard. So my choices for mirror is to select everything. So a right to left selection of all of the objects, and so that being a crossing window also picks up the center line. When we pick on mirror entities, we get the desired result. Okay, so normally I would go ahead and sketch around and do that mirror all in one shot. If you did that, that's great. When for illustration, I want to go through. So there was a parallel, and so I want to avoid the parallels. I want to avoid the perpendiculars, and we'll draw the next couple of segments, and we'll bring that on over here. Alright, a few more dimensions. So from the end to the point, 1.45. And it isn't absolutely necessary that you get these dimensions in place before you perform the mirror, but if everything is fully defined, when you go to create the mirror, then you are pretty much assured that you will have a fully defined result. Okay, so 0.69, I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. My dimensions are getting a little cluttered. So we have a 2.43. And that should be good enough. All right, so if we were to just pick, so I'm going to do the window from left to right, that's just going to be inside. If I just pick those geometries and go into mirror entities, it didn't grab that center line or the axis to mirror about, the axis of symmetry. So we're going to pick the mirror about, and when I add it, the nice thing about doing it this way is it shows you the preview. So when we accept, we get preview, and because I didn't put those dimensions, then those are able to move. They're also able to move in such a way that they might create a conflicting or an over-defined sketch. Alright, so my dimension, we're going to need a few more steps since this dimension's from the steps back. And actually I wanted to do one more before we got into that one. So let's take those two segments and we'll go into mirror entities. And so now nothing is selected. Wherever you see the little dots, that's going to allow you to drag. So dot, dot. And so if you've selected enough items and it's kind of off of outside of the window, then you can stretch that out and get a few more. Alright, so whatever is highlighted in blue is what we're selecting for. And don't know why I drew that on the bottom side, but either way will work. What we'll notice then when I pick the center line is it creates the mirror. And where this will have a horizontal and these are the symmetry, then because I drew on this side of the line, these will be the horizontal and vertical, and then these two will have the symmetry. So usually I try to keep everything on one side to maintain that symmetry. Alright, we need to go look for a sketch tool. And we have geometry selected. And always have to look for this one since I don't use it that often. And as usual, it's right in front of me. If you do a dynamic mirror, then let's see, I don't think it picked up the tools, sketch tools, dynamic mirrors on. So usually it would show the symmetry symbols on the center line. But now anything that I draw on one side should be appearing on the other. And so as those items, now the plus side is you get an instant result. The downside is if you make an error, you also get an instant error. So once that's turned on, you will want to go back and make sure that it gets turned back off. And that would be one that we could add, if we were going to use it enough, we would add to our sketch tool, our command manager, and have it available. Alright, so 1.46, we'll get these dimensions going. And I want to treat the pattern separate, so I'm just going to go ahead and dimension this out. So my pre-selection, I had the center line and I grabbed that geometry, so let's go ahead and escape back. Escaped one too many times, but escape will allow me to back up through the dimensions until I get to, well, it either clears or it gives me the one I'm looking for. So 0.65. Alright, we'll kind of position those. We have a 3.35. And a 4.27. And then the overall is 5.5. Alright, so thing with mirror is pick your favorite strategy and develop it, get used to it, be able to work effectively with it. Okay, so going into the features, hitting the extrude, 0.875, decide which way you want it to go, and then accept. Alright, so I'm going to do the Control 1 to bring it back into the front view. And for any kind of pattern, we need to decide where the seed part is. Well, since our dimension is off of this side, then go ahead and put the seed in. And it has a dimension of 0.5. It is also 0.94 off of the nose of the part. Alright, and since it didn't go to blue, that means if I drag the center point, it should move up and down. My video card let it catch up. Alright, we're going to control select the origin in this case and make it horizontal. If the origin wasn't convenient or I had a different style of symmetry, I could also right click and select the midpoint, and the midpoint and that center line or center point of the circle could be horizontal or have something. And then as an option, I could always draw the center line through the middle of the part again and align that point. Since it's just the one point, the one circle that we're using as the seed, that's going to give me my good start. So we select the circle, we go into a linear sketch pattern, we are going along the x-axis, and the separation is 5 times by 0.75. So there are 6 circles and 5 spaces. So let's see what that looks like. If we do 0.75, and different CAD packages are going to manage this differently. So if I put in 5, then I see 5 circles. Alright, so this one is an instance count, not a spacing. So we go up to 6. So now we have the 6 circles, the 5 spaces. I want to dimension the X spacing, and we want to display the instance count. And if we fix the X direction, that should get me a fully defined sketch. So we're going to go ahead and hit OK. As I click out, then I'll see this center line, and center line is one of the additions that will allow this to go. So it's interesting that it's not showing up horizontal, but it has the 2 coincidences. So horizontal and coincident and coincident. Alright, so I'm not quite what I expected, but it is working, it's functional. We'll go into the extrude. We're looking for an extrude cut. And then again, I don't really care about the thickness. I don't want to put in a blind end condition. I want it to be able to find its way all the way through, and if I rotate over, I'll see the direction and depth of that cut. So go ahead and accept. We'll make sure to save this.